We're live. Peace, everybody.
Peace, peace.
It's been a minute.
Absolutely. When was the last time we was on? You don't even know,
I don't
huh?
even know. We
Yeah.
took some time off.
Yeah. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can they hear us?
Well,
Yeah. Is it
we,
all the way
we
up?
won't know because nobody's on.
I know, right? Let's see. That should be it right there.
Okay.
All right. What's up? What's up, guys? It's been a minute since we've been on. We took some time off, but we're back. And I got some lovely questions for this young lady right here.
Yep, we're going to switch it up a little bit for the next at least 2 episodes.
Yeah. Maybe 3.
Yeah. And just get to know us a little better.
Oh, wow. That's loud. The window's not open. Oh, it is open. Okay, let me see. That's what it is. You can hear us talking. All right. That was funny.
So I think this is episode 10, and we're going to talk about my journey a little bit.
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't think.
I feel like is there a hair on my nose right there?
I mean, there's plenty of hairs.
No, like right there.
I don't see anything.
Oh, it's itching like crazy. All right.
Make right of it. Yeah, like an hour. We're gonna talk a little bit about my journey.
Yeah. So let's get started. What started your spiritual journey?
My spiritual journey. So, I'm gonna say I've always been seeking. Like I spent a lot of time looking for a church, looking at different religions. I was raised Catholic, and it just didn't. It wasn't a right fit. I'll just say I couldn't agree with the things that was being taught, especially like in Catholic religion. You like the whole confession thing and being able to like the way they weigh sin. It was weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could kill somebody and then go confess and then you're okay. Like it was just weird. Right. It didn't sit right with me. So I've been seeking. I've gone to all kinds of different churches, different denominations. I've researched all kinds of religions.
Both parents were Catholic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And nothing seemed right. Nothing felt right. But I've always had that connection, that one-on-one connection, and it felt like that was enough. It was I don't know. Church was just different. Like I felt like I didn't need a middleman. I had a direct connection, and I just strengthened that and was like, if there was something out there for me, I would find it. Mm-hmm. My journey of healing, I'd say, like the catapult, I had like a lot of rage within me that I needed to clear out. And I started like looking into that, trying to figure out where did it stem from? What was the root? But I had like a lot of events that in my life that were like really life altering. So I'm going to go back to one specific that kind of, no, there's been so many. I'm going to go back to the time, though, that I was at work when I had just gotten a promotion. I had a good job. I was in a good place. And I had like an office overlooking I-95. And I was like, I thought I was hot shit.
You showed me that spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was dope.
I kicked my feet up on the desk. It was like late. I was working late one night. And then I was kind of like, self-reflecting and like, okay, not bad for, chick from the hood that wasn't supposed to be anything, like a statistic, right? And then I heard it was like someone speaking to me. I heard specifically, it wasn't me, it wasn't my thoughts. And it was like, she said, "Do you think this is what you came here to do?" And it was shocking. And I just like sat back kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what? And it was like, this isn't what you came here to do. Like you were a warrior in a past life, like was the message that was coming through.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, this is not what you came here to do. Like you're just a hamster on a wheel. Kind of like, and it really made me think about where I was and what I was doing. And that like was one of the first dominoes that just like, and after that, like thing after thing after thing after thing happened in my life. But that was like the first domino that fell at that time. I mean, I've had other crazy things happen to me, but at that time, like from that point, I got like Lyme disease. I had a near-death experience shortly after that. I've had it was just, my life just completely went chaotic for a little bit. And that was, I guess, the start of my spiritual journey. Like now that I'm here, I could go back and see like different things that had happened throughout my life that I just wasn't aware at the time. But now I could go back and be like, all these things were happening and all these pieces were going in place that got me here.
Okay. So what's like, what made you go even further and stronger? Like, you know what I mean? Because when me and you got together, you said I was already way further than where you were with my spiritual self. So I motivated you, or I encouraged you to get, I mean, tell them what you was telling me. Like I encouraged you to get your weight up with your spiritual self, which I believe is your ultimate self. And so you've been doing a lot of work in the past 8 years since we've been together, right? Yeah. And I believe like you surpassed me. I got kind of stagnant, but
well, I think that we're all on different journeys,
right?
So definitely, I did a deep dive into healing before we got together. And then once we got together, and you were just so zen, so chill. And I just was like, oh, I want that. Like, because it takes a lot to bother you. And like some of the things that would happen, and I would be like, how are you so calm? Like,
right.
So yeah, I wanted that. So I went deeper. Us getting together was definitely a catalyst to go deeper into my healing and into my spirituality. I feel like there's something really big about like when two people get together, because Like we heal each other, right?
Absolutely.
We're triggering each other, we're healing each other.
We're manifesting together, which everything is more powerful, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's definitely stronger when you're on the same spiritual plight. I mean, you know, and once you know it,
I think that that's
it's just
why
way more stronger.
I think there's like a war on relationships that we've
Right.
fallen into.
Well, we didn't.
Because
You mean?
Because
Oh well,
it's
yeah.
powerful.
Right.
But no, I'm saying like there's a intentional.
Absolutely, and we started this podcast because when we're out and about, people can feel our connection. They can feel our spirituality. They can feel our togetherness, and they're intrigued. They want to know what the hell's going on. Everybody wants that, but this world we live in today is not for couples. You really have to be like the average. I mean, it depends. Like we did a lot of shadow work. It took us. Let's be honest, man. It took us a long time to get here. We really wanted it, right? Yeah. But it's a constant battle. It never ends, and it's never gonna end. So we gotta stay sharp and be on our P's and Q's all the time.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was gonna say. You get on my nerves sometimes.
Listen, I'm interviewing you, but you told me to come in and chime in every now and then. But how can you forget? Come on now.
I've been hanging around with you for too long.
Oh, you got bad memory like me now?
Yeah, I never met anybody with a memory like yours before.
Yeah, my mother said, why do I have bad memory?
Trauma.
Right. Right. It's a lot of trauma. So bad memory is good for my trauma.
Well, I had a lot of trauma and I didn't have a bad memory before you. Not like this.
Well, the DNA thing after a while, right? We don't look alike.
Right.
But
we got gray hair alike.
Yeah. Not, but
that, yeah, I've been dying.
Right.
For a long time. Yeah. So your question was,
what made you really
dive? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted the Zen. I wanted that calm. I wanted to be unbothered. I didn't want people to be able to just like press my buttons and then have me, cussing people out or whatever, all that stuff that I used to do, road raging and all that stuff. So I did. I went deep and I did a lot of healing, a lot of self-reflecting, a lot of that shadow work. And then when I got to the Zen place, I was like, this isn't me.
Right.
Because I like a little ruckus. I liked my dark side. I liked putting people in their place when they deserve it. Like I'm very nice. It's only when deserved, right? So you kind of, to me, you kind of like avoided conflict, right? It's like I want to be in my Zen place, like good vibes only. You're like, stay away from me. Bad vibes, stay away. And I'm like, no, come, so I can tell you a thing or two about
but
yourself.
Nobody believes that.
Why? What do you mean?
Like that you embrace the dark side, like you're ready for all the smoke.
I mean, I don't care. Nobody has to.
Your family don't think that you.
My family knows me very well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What?
Well, that's before we got together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know that side of me.
If I didn't know you, we wouldn't be together.
You don't know that side of me. I've never had to show you that side of me. You've never done anything to bring out that side of me.
Well, your older kids know that side of you. Your baby girl don't know that side of you.
She knows very well. What do you mean?
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about?
Hmm. All right. So let's go. Keep going.
So yeah, I kept going. I kept going because I feel like that's, well, I think they call it like spiritual bypassing when you're like in that avoidant phase where you're like trying not to look at that side of yourself, or you want everything to be kumbaya. It's not realistic. It's like, I don't know, I just wanted to go a little bit deeper. So
Right.
yeah,
You started doing your research, YouTube.
I've read multiple books. It's a lot of it is intuitive because as I healed, like my intuition just
Was
got
driving you crazy.
it got really sharp.
Yeah.
And
So you would say the more that you healed, the more you started digging deep, deep, deep. It's always more. And I mean, you came such a long way from when we first got together. And you got to talk about all your accolades that you got. How many certificates you got? You're like, I mean, it was crazy for you to become a ordained minister, knowing your dark side. But
what do you mean? Everybody has. That's the whole point. It's like everybody has. You can't have good without bad.
right,
Yin and yang. It's
right.
like people try to pretend that they're like all peaceful and love and light, but it's not realistic.
That's not real, right?
It's not. So it's not like it's not realistic.
So how many certificates did you get in the
I
past?
have no idea.
Like maybe like 15, 20 certified. Like
Maybe.
what? You're a Reiki master. You're a
I do energy work.
that's what Reiki means, right?
Is
Reiki is energy healing, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I do intuitive readings, medical diagnoses from emotional issues. I don't know. I have a lot of
I mean, you
certifications.
keep
I
going.
just did.
We celebrated so many. You don't know. We went to dinner a million times on
That's
everyone.
work stuff too. That
Uh,
doesn't count.
oh, okay. I'm getting your spiritual mixed up with work.
I just finished a course on regression therapy.
What's regression therapy?
Regression is like going into either childhood memories. It's healing through your past. It could be past lives. It could be past just things that you don't remember because they were like too traumatic. Your mind blocked it out, which goes back to a lot of like that memory, when you have memory loss and stuff like that.
Right.
That's usually due to trauma and parts. Like you have if you have severe trauma, sometimes you have not sometimes, you'll have like different personalities or parts of you that rescue you when you're in a traumatic situation and they feel like, okay, this is too stressful for the mind to handle. So like it's almost like another personality will come on, like a mother personality, and kind of help you through whatever is happening. And then when you're out of that traumatic situation, you don't remember what happened. Like other people are telling you did this or this happened, and you're like, what? I didn't do that. That's like trauma. That's usually a sign.
But so the old word is snapped.
Yes.
Yeah. So everybody. So yeah. in layman terms, people be snapping and they don't know what the hell they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That. So I can help you with that type of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. You gotta perform that on me sometimes. I would like to. It's called regression, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need that.
Yeah, that's the latest.
And what else? What else you accomplished? What other certificates you've been taking so many classes. I'm so proud of you, man, because you really wanted to heal, and it all started with you wanting to be your ultimate self, right? So you had to take these classes to understand, and then
Well, when you start hearing like voices and getting, so I thought I was going crazy at first.
right,
I thought like, okay, I have something's wrong with me, but I wasn't gonna go to the doctor and be like, hey, I'm hearing voices,
yeah,
because
they put you in a straitjacket.
right.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure all that stuff out and learn about energy. Some people can see energy, sense energy, feel energy. And the thing about it is you just have to quiet your mind, because like when we're so distracted by our problems, the past, the future, all that stuff, our minds are too chaotic, so we can't really focus on the subtle energy or the messages that are coming in. So being able to quiet your mind and focus and meditate and tap into all that stuff that's here that we are unaware of.
Awesome. I wanted to chime in and say the people on live that we on live Instagram, we are live also on our spiritual chemistry podcast on YouTube. So we're about to dead this live on Instagram, so y'all can switch over to our spiritual chemistry podcast on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But yeah, so we are with that. So what was your life like before spirituality?
Chaotic.
Right. Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, like I was saying, I would snap. as you put it, I would snap a lot. Like I was overly nice because I was afraid to let that side of myself out. So that dark side that I reference, I would be super nice. Like I remember being at work and people would be like, could you do this? Could you do this? And I'd be like, sure. It wasn't that I wanted to do it. It was like I just wanted to keep everything copacetic so that I didn't have to cuss anybody out. And I knew that it was like it would only take one little thing and then I would be raging and going crazy. But yeah, that's how it was. I wish I found spirituality younger.
But they say you can't wish that.
I don't have regrets, but I mean, like I think I would have been a better parent. Even though, I can't regret because
you would have been a better parent. You were the best parent in the world at that time for what you knew.
I was a rager. I used to put like I put hands on children.
I mean, all parents put hands on children.
No, not all parents put hands on children.
I mean, you're not young. So people our age and older put hands on children.
Gentle parenting wasn't a thing.
No, I mean, was it, did your parents put hands on you?
Yeah.
There you go.
But I mean, we're full of trauma from our childhood.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was I think like a lot of times you have to get to the point where you want to change more than anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I remember specifically one time when I was driving in the car with my youngest. So I had to leave work, go run to school, pick her up, and then I was bringing her back to the office with me. And somebody cut me off, and like I was pissed off. So I started, we were exchanging words, and I started following them, and then they invited me to the side of the road. So I pulled over, and then like I jumped out the car with the high heels, a pencil skirt, like, and I'm like cussing, walking up to the guy. He was in a pickup truck, and he like looked, and he started like running back to his car, and I was like, yeah,
He ran back to his car. You had on high heels and a pencil skirt.
because
What
I'm
was so
sure
scary
I
about
don't.
that?
I'm sure.
He
I
must
mean,
have thought.
that's insane. You know that I'm insane. But I don't know if he thought like it was a guy. We were like, I was chasing him
You got
down.
my water?
No, you had it over there, didn't you? You
Yeah.
must have picked it up.
All right. Yeah. All right.
So I had like I'm going up to him, and then he like turned around and like jumped in his car and took off, and I was pissed off that he took off. And I'm going back to the car, and I get in, and baby girl's in the back seat, and she's like, her face.
How old was she?
I don't know. She remembers
6?
it. She was probably like 7.
7.
Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Her face, it broke my heart. And then I'm like, my justification for getting out the car and chasing this guy was like he put her life in danger. Like what I was doing was any better, right?
Right.
So seeing her face when I got back in the car, I was like, oh no, like I gotta do something. This is terrible. Like,
and what did you do? That was like a pivotal moment.
That was like another, catalyst, pivotal moment that made me like, you gotta figure this out. You gotta get your shit together.
Right. So before me and you got together, you already started.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a spiritual thing. It was a religious thing at the time.
No, it was, I mean, I had started with
churches.
Yeah, because, you want to strengthen your relationship with the higher power, your higher power. And
at
so
that time, you didn't know.
That's where you go, church, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, so the question was, what made you get, well, this is before your spirituality. That's the question, right?
What was my life
before
like before spirituality? Oh. Right. Before spirituality, I didn't understand relationships. Like I was, like what they teach, and like they teach women that like some guy is supposed to save you and like all that bull, right? Where relationships are meant to help you heal. Like that's the main purpose of a relationship. You heal together. And if you're in a relationship with someone and only one person is healing, then
no good.
The relationship, like you're gonna
sever.
You're gonna vibrate
away from each other.
Right. So we put all this emphasis on, or at least I did before before, like with the religious templating and stuff like that, like you're supposed to stay in one relationship, you're supposed to just work it out. You're supposed to,
Regardless, suck it up.
right?
Yeah.
Where that's beautiful in theory,
That's
but
all the stuff we had to unlearn.
right,
We've been taught and beaten to half with that for so long.
right.
And you're like, we snapped out of it. Like, there's no way that this is gonna help me. This is not healthy.
Right.
It's not good for the kids. It's not good for nothing. When people stay in situations like that, you're sending the wrong message to your kids.
And then you're just stagnating yourself. Like if you're in a relationship and you guys are no longer a vibrational match, if you stay there, then you're constantly having to come down to their level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're like a complainer or whatever it is that's causing their vibration to be lower, denser, whatever you want to call it, you get sucked into that.
But even deeper than that, you're talking about coming down to their level. I mean, it becomes a survival mode as in a lot of cases, because they can get physically abusive or just as worse, verbally abusive. So, you got to save yourself.
Yeah.
You got to save yourself, and you got to save your kids, regardless if it's a male or female. I mean, you got to get out, man. It's not cool. And then, like I said, the kids is getting the wrong message, and then now you're teaching your daughter that she got to stay there and take the verbal abuse or get beat up or whatever the situation may be, and that's not cool. That's what's being a bad parent, actually.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I didn't.
So when you're saying that you wasn't a good parent, I mean, you did a hell of a lot for your kids, man.
I'm not.
Despite.
Right. I was just thinking about who I am now, and
you did the best.
No, I
tell kids nowadays, don't hate your parents. Have empathy for them, because you don't know what they've been through.
And then through spirituality, I came to understand, realize, and believe. Not everybody does, but we choose our parents. We choose our trauma. They chose me. They knew who I was. They knew what they were getting themselves into.
You're talking about something deep that these people not gonna understand.
Oh, you don't know that. What do you mean?
You're talking about, and before this life
plans, right?
Right.
Okay. You don't know who's listening and
well,
what they know.
I didn't say everyone, but
you said
like
these people.
Well, you know what I mean. But it's like everybody. I should have said everybody.
Everybody. I'm not telling anybody to believe what I believe. I'm just saying
that's what I wanted you to say.
So I do want to talk about my near-death experience, because I've never really talked about that anywhere. And I think that experience changed me, but I haven't really talked about it because, again, going back to like, you're not going to go tell your doctor that you're hearing voices, right? Like a lot of people don't believe, but I think that talking about these things, like other people, like I went on this binge of watching and reading about near-death experiences, which made me realize that that is what I had experienced, and that I've experienced multiple like brushes with death in my life. So yeah, the big near-death experience that I had, I'm gonna say big because I've had, like I said, smaller brushes with death, which things that were like kind of amazing, extreme, but okay, I'm just going to tell this story basically. So I had, I don't like to tell the story too because of what it entails. So I had taken some ecstasy and I was up for like a long time. I couldn't go to sleep. I was just like, and you know that I'm like super sensitive. So um, I don't know what I was thinking, but I, yeah, I couldn't sleep. I started like cleaning up. I was trying to, I was trying to like tire myself out. So I started like cleaning and I was just going crazy cleaning up. And I was up for a long time. Like I had already been out partying and stuff like that. And I came home and I stayed up for a long time cleaning up and then just like
freaking
out, right?
Don't speak. Just tell the story, man.
And then all of a sudden I had gotten really tired and I was like, okay,
I remember some of this.
I'm just gonna lay down and go to sleep. But something inside of me was like, no, don't do it. And I started having like this inner battle with myself where I was like, I just need to lay down. I'm tired. And something was telling me, do not lay down. Don't go to sleep. Like, don't go to sleep. And I like, I have to. I'm tired. So I went and I laid down. And then still something was telling me, don't do it. So I was kind of like fighting it. I laid down, I sat up, I laid down, and then I was just like, I'm tired. So I laid down and I was like, I'm just going to take a nap. Everything's going to be fine. But I was kind of like panicking. My heart was beating really fast and strong. And then I was like, calm down, you're fine, you'll be fine. And then my heart started slowing down and it was beating softer and softer. And it was like progressively, it was starting to slow down. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, this isn't good. And I could feel like even my breath, like, was starting to be like further and further apart. And then it was like my brain was still sharp, but my body function, I was losing body functions basically. And then I was just like, okay, like I said, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. And I could see myself, my body on the bed. So I was like above my body. And I just had the thought, like, that's strange, right? And then all of a sudden, I was in complete darkness. It was like I was, I raised out of my body and then into this darkness, the void, I guess you would call it. And I was just there. I don't know how long I was there. It was like I had no concept of time or anything. I just know I was in the darkness, kind of like floating.
The way you're saying it, I was in the darkness,
just floating in darkness. And then all of a sudden, I started to feel like love, like overwhelming, all encompassing, like love,
and
pure
you started
love.
Crying.
I did not.
Okay.
It was like nothing you've ever felt. Nothing can compare to this love.
So is that why do everybody feel that, or you don't know when they take ecstasy?
This wasn't ecstasy. This was it felt as if I was being cradled in love.
Mm.
Like I could still tap into that feeling right now. It was just so I couldn't see anything, but I heard, are you sure you want to do it like this? Right? It was starting to question me, like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, I'm so tired. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. Right? It was like this. And I was like, yeah, I'm tired. Like I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. And then I was asked, what about the children? And I was like, yeah, I'm tired. I'm good, right? And then I was asked, what about your mother? And as soon as that question was asked of me, I was like, damn. And then just like that, I'm back in my body.
Mm.
And a couple things. It wasn't like my love for my mother was stronger than my love for my children.
Mm-hmm.
It was like in that place where I was in the void with that. I don't care what anybody tells me. I was in the presence of God, source, creator. That is the love that I was feeling. That was who was talking to me. I don't care how wild it sounds, but I know that to be a fact. And in that place, I knew everything.
Mm.
So I knew how my death would affect the kids. I knew how my death would affect my mother. And my mother would have had a hard time. Like she would not have been able to get over that.
Mm-hmm.
My death and how I would have died. Like
so
dying with drugs in my system, like
right.
me. You know what I mean?
So it's truly is. So you believe it's mind over matter with everything?
What do you mean?
Because that was mind over matter. Like you made a conscious. You got out of whatever you was feeling that you was slipping,
See,
and your mind took over and was like, no, this is not going to happen.
That's not what happened. That I died and was on the other side, and I was given the opportunity to stay there or come back.
So this is all spiritual, completely.
See, that's why I haven't told anybody because of that reaction. But yeah, so when I came back into my body on the bed, like it was the most terrible feeling I had ever felt. Like it felt so horrible because
what did it feel like? Like you got thrusted in and out of something?
It was the contrast.
Yeah.
To go from feeling pure love and, and then to be in my body, everything hurt. It hurt. It hurt a lot.
When you came back?
When I came back. Like I couldn't even move. Everything hurt. And then my back hurt. Everything hurt. Like I was just in excruciating pain.
But when you was on the other side, it just felt like spiritual, blessed love. Yeah.
It was, whew. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy. You crying? Are you emotional?
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's. And so was that a well?
It was hard to come back.
Wow. But you said you thought about your mother and everybody else.
Right.
So that means that
It's still hard to be back after being on the other side. Like, it was really hard. I had a hard time.
I keep yawning because these chairs are so comfortable.
I had a hard
Ah.
time for a long time, and I didn't really talk about it. And it was kind of like, I was kind of like depressed, I'd say. So when I came back in my body, I was in pain. I went to the hospital. I had a double kidney infection. So, yeah,
That's crazy.
that was crazy. Um, but yeah, so it was like I just knew over there. I just knew it was like an experience that it's hard to explain and put into like words that explain the how big of an experience it was. Like I can't. But I feel like when I after going there and then coming back here, like I still have some remembrancing or knowingness. Like I know certain things that I don't know how I know these things, but I do just know. And then that whole remembering that we have a life plan, like we planned this stuff out before we came here. And then we come here and we have amnesia and we can't remember that we planned all this out, that we planned it out with the people that are in our lives. So a lot of times the people that we're like pissed off at in this lifetime and we can't forgive them, like on the other side, we made an agreement with them, like to play out these roles. Like, okay, I'm going to hurt you in this way so that you can transmute that and then come into your power and, and work through this and transmute and figure out your purpose and, help others overcome this or whatever it is that we're trying to do, or we're working out karma or whatever. And we hold on to all this anger and resentment and pain and stuff like that. And it's like we planned it. We planned it. We made an agreement. Maybe like, I know everybody doesn't believe in past lives and stuff like that, but maybe in another lifetime you did something shitty to them and now y'all are just working out karma, and then you're like so stuck in your anger because this person did something terrible to you. But
when you first started telling me that we chose to come back here and to help people, or for whatever reasons, we planned everything before we was born here again. And at first I was like, man, I would never
no
get
way.
that, right? But on the flip side of that, I do believe in life after death, like, because your spirit, your soul lives forever, right? So if I can think that and believe that wholeheartedly, what makes me think my spirit and soul started with me? So our spirits and soul is old, it's been here forever. So that's what made me started to understand, okay, I do believe what you're saying. And not maybe, I really believe that now. But I wanted to say that because at first I was like, it's no way in the world we planned this and we chose to do.
Right, especially like the difficult lives and the trauma and
right,
stuff like that.
absolutely.
But I feel like I kind of remember I read, I don't really know how I feel this very strongly because like it's all a blur. Like I don't know what I know through experience, what I know from just knowing, because that's like one of my gifts too, like that. Um, I just know stuff and I don't know how I know them. But like when we are in that planning phase and we're like, okay, this is gonna happen and I'm gonna experience this and this and this. And it's like, oh no, that's too much. Like, because you're on that other side and it's a different perception. You don't have all these emotions and all this stuff. So you're like, yeah, I can handle it. No problem.
Right.
But then we come here, we forget, and then all this emotion and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that bin went out.
It did?
Yeah, because the no more storage.
Oh.
I mean, we got it, but they trying to get us to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Pay more money. So, yeah. I just wanted to get that out. And I hope my mother doesn't watch this. But if she does, I don't do drugs anymore, Mom. It was just a phase.
But did you have any kids at the time?
Yes. I was in a very dark place.
Yeah. Yeah, so wow.
That was like 15 years ago, maybe.
Damn, that's not long ago.
No.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I was in a very dark place.
I already know. That's a whole nother podcast. What was the hardest lessons you had to learn in your life? I know it's a bunch. Let's hear a few of them. Like, I want to hear a few.
So that it doesn't, like, we can't want more for people, right? So like the people that you love the most and you want to just help them on their journey and you can't.
The people that you love the most.
Right.
Right.
So you can't help them. You just have to let them crash out or whatever. Just get their lessons. Like, we all have our own journey, right? And that was probably one of the biggest things for me, because I'm like, oh, I need to help. And it's like, because I didn't have a lot of help in my life, where I feel like, oh, let me help. I want to help because I don't want other people to struggle like I struggled.
You didn't have anybody like you when you was growing up.
Right, but then that's why I am the person that I am, because I went through so much.
Same.
Like, we don't get strong from having an easy life. You know, we're strong because we overcame.
We went through the fire, man.
Yeah.
And still have our right minds. We still can love. We still healing. We have empathy for people. That's amazing. So you have to pass this information on.
Right, and you can't, like,
can't
you know,
keep it
like
to yourself.
when kids are like babies or little, right? You know, they're learning how to walk and you want to protect them, but you know that they have to like fall and struggle through it. It's the same thing. Like, it just gets harder and harder when you have like children or people you love and they're struggling and you just want to help them, but you can't. And a lot of times you can't. They're not ready. They don't want the help. They want something different. They want like an easy way, or they want like just to be in you know, like sympathy, or someone to feel sorry for them, or whatever the case is. Like, there's a million different cases, but you just have to let people figure it out.
Some figure it out faster than others, and some never figure it out.
But that's their lesson.
Right.
Like, we can't interfere. Like, we're just stagnating their growth and interfering with their journey. And that's hard a lot. And
but what about when you're on your own journey and that same person trying to interfere with your journey?
I mean, do you mean? Like boundaries?
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
You know what I mean if you just answered it with one word, boundaries.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about. You just answered it. Oh man.
Yeah. How long have we been on?
Yeah, so is that it?
I mean, that's the
that's
biggest
the
one.
biggest
But
one.
other than that, let's see.
The hardest lessons you had to learn.
That for me, that I just have to, like, I'm always trying to rush through stuff and skip chapters and stuff like that. And you can't do that. You got to just, you have to go through all the steps to get where you're going. Like, you can't skip and you can't, like, what I've learned is like, I get little breadcrumbs. It's like, and I just have to follow the breadcrumbs to figure out where I'm going next or what I'm supposed to be doing. Where I've always been the type that, like, I want to know everything right now. And that's not what this journey's about either. So you just got to be patient.
Process. It's a process, man.
A lot of patience.
Yeah.
And having faith and just having that blind faith that everything's going to work out. Trust the process, surrender, all that stuff.
And that blind faith only comes and gets stronger after you've been battle tested and you realize that faith is everything. Because it is. It's not when we want it to happen, it's when it's supposed to happen. Because you're not the only one getting that lesson with that particular case. It's a bunch of people learning a lesson, right?
And it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen.
Right.
Like usually.
But when it does happen, you shout for joy.
And it's never like I could have never come up with that solution. It's always like, wow. Right?
Yeah.
So I've I've had so many beautiful, wonderful things happen that now I'm just like, how are you going to work this one out?
Right. I play games. That's like playing games
Right.
with God, like trying to figure it out. Like how is it? And then it never. And you can think of a million different ways, and then always something so unique but it's just miraculous. I mean, it's so many words I could explain how it happens, but it's just amazing, man. And that's what builds your faith. When you have faith and you're battle tested, and it always works out for the better good for not just you, for everyone, right? But everybody still don't get their lesson. When you're tapped into your spiritual self, you get the lesson for sure, for facts.
They might not get it right away, but
right.
Usually it'll come eventually.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
When did you come into your spiritual gifts?
Ooh. So I'm going to say that they were always there. I just was too distracted because I remember when
they're always there. That spot on. Go ahead.
When I was in, like, one of the big moments for me was I was like probably a freshman in high school, and I went to a party, and I had got this overwhelming feeling, and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, I need to leave. And I went to the people that I was with and was like, we gotta go. And they didn't want to leave. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to just thug it out or whatever. But I could not shake this feeling. I could not shake it. So I left. I left everybody and I went home. And then the next day, there was a shootout at the party.
You mean that night it was a shootout? You
Yeah,
heard
the next day
you
I
heard.
found out that there
Yeah.
was a shooting at the party. And that was like, okay, like whatever that was, I need to pay attention to that. That's how I
So that was a
started
pivot. That was a pivotal moment.
Yeah. That, I call it my spidey senses. I'll be like, oh, my spidey senses are acting up. That's what I named it after that. And I could pinpoint like key times throughout my life where I just knew stuff. I would, and so like coming into that gift, like my intuition and that knowing stuff or whatever, like I'm good with it now because I know how to navigate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I know that if I know something, I can't go around being like, you did, you right? Because they're gonna deny it and you have no proof. But you say, my intuition. So you just use it for your own knowledge, right? Just like sometimes I hear people's thoughts or whatever. So you asked, what was the question? When did they come on? Big time when we moved to Divine.
Yeah.
Everything just was like
hypersensitive.
Hyper, right? Like I could hear thoughts.
Well, that's when we started getting the high frequency.
Yes.
That was driving me. I thought I was going to have to go into a sane asylum.
Right. The ringing in the ear.
It's not even a ring. It's like a screech. Oh, shit. That's exactly what it is.
So, yeah, I started because it was happening at work. Like everything, the lights was bright, everything. I just felt real crazy. And then I started hearing people's thoughts and feeling their emotions real strong. And it's a gift and it's kind of a curse because like people be smiling in your face and you like, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
You just keep it to yourself, right? And you can protect yourself. But yeah. It kind of isolates you because you know people on a different level. It's like that most people are trying to portray this version of themselves that's not authentic, and you know the authentic them and how they really feel. And it's not always, but for the most part, always.
Well, I mean, at this point, you just said it. You gotta. I mean, your spidey senses. I mean, you're battle tested now, so you're not second guessing yourself right now. So it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I think that's how it works too. Like when you second guess, it's like
you end up being mad at yourself. No, you end up being mad at yourself because at this stage of our spirituality, it's like, what's wrong with you? It is what it is.
No, I'm just thinking about like how to strengthen your intuition and your gifts. Like you have to trust.
You took the word right out of my mouth. You got to trust. You got to trust
what you're feeling, what you're knowing, what you're.
But we're around a bunch of people that's not like that on their spiritual self, and so they can drag us away from that and have us second guessing ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's important for you to continuously to stay around like-minded people. Like if we weren't, like you said earlier in this podcast, if we weren't on this journey together, it would be extremely hard.
Right.
it would be extremely hard because now you got your human self and your spiritual self battling with each other even harder because you're dealing with somebody that's not tapped into their spirituality. And now you got two human selves, 1.5 human self against your other half, one half spiritual self. And,
What does it feel like? And now I'm asking you questions. What does it feel like being with someone that like just
you're like all the way out there, like deep into the spiritual shit.
or just like I know stuff, right? Is that annoying sometimes or scary?
No, because this is the journey that we're on, and then all of the shows and all the YouTube and all the interviews that we watch. There's tons of people on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but when you're tapped in like that, and I seen the work that you've done, so I mean, it is what it is. I've been hearing stuff like this my whole life, but didn't believe it until I became who I am today. So, but watching you do the shadow work and you really meditating and praying and manifesting every day, and you taking all these classes, and it's just amazing to watch you. I mean, if you're putting in that much time, you're gonna start getting some answers because you're opening up that it's not Pandora's box. It's a spiritual box, right? But you know what I'm saying. You if you ask, you shall
It
receive.
can be Pandora's box. I don't think it's for the weak.
It's not, and that's why a lot of people don't do ayahuasca because they don't want to know the truth or they don't want to go down that road, right? And they're afraid that they might get too enthralled, and they might not be around the right people, chemistry of people to go down that road by themselves. Nobody want to be labeled as you crazy or a witch or whatever.
Why not?
I mean, that's you. That's the dark side that you like. You know what I mean? But that's why a lot of people say, "What God do you worship?" You know what I mean?
There's only one God.
Well, I mean, people worship the devil. That's their God. You know what I'm saying? When like that word God, it frightens a lot of people now. Well, they literally ask you, "What God do you worship?"
I think
They
that
do that, so you got to say now, like higher power, a higher source. There's only one God, and you still have people that don't believe.
it's it's capital God, capital G.
I know what it is, but I'm telling you how people
Well, I mean, I understand because that term has a negative
because
connotation
it's
because
out of
of
the Bible,
religion.
and the Bible has been tampered with a million times,
Right.
and yeah. So, anything else for the people? Do you have a gem that you want to drop before
Um,
this session is over?
yeah, if I look back on where I've been, where I am, where I'm heading, like that healing, that deep healing, and that forgiveness, and that was crucial. That's what we all need to do. We all like we're dealing with so much turmoil in our lives, but I don't really experience that like other people are. The turmoil. Like I'm pretty happy most of the time. Like don't look at me like that because I know what you're gonna say. But even driving to work in traffic, I'm like enjoying.
You just got like that last week, because that driving to work in
That
this
is
traffic
inaccurate
a couple months ago.
information. I cried one time, and it was because it was really hot And I was falling asleep sitting in traffic for 2 hours, and it was scary, and it just was a extreme waste of my time. And I felt very strongly about that.
And you started crying.
And I cried. And I'm not ashamed to say that I cried because I felt the emotion.
How long did you cry for? The whole trip?
No. I cry when I came home? I didn't cry like on the road. It was like when I made it home.
Was I home?
I think so. Yeah. And I just like.
That was early. I didn't have the shop yet, right?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed of my emotions. That's what being human is.
Right.
Feeling emotions deeply. Just not getting stuck in them.
Right. So that's the gem.
That's my gem.
Awesome.
So we'll be back with I'll question you next time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you for letting the people know.
Thank you for
how you got to where you're at today.
Asking me.
Yeah, I think that's her spiritual journey is amazing.
That was like the barely tip of the iceberg. I have so many stories.
Yeah, well, you had the opportunity to just tell them.
No, that's what I said in the beginning. Like, I can't. Hour, I can't.
Yeah. All right. Well, there'll be a part 2 to this. Okay. Right?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Like we always used to say, we're just back at them again. It's been a while. But like, share, and subscribe.
Comments. Let me know.
Yeah, comments. Yeah. If you have any questions, if she didn't elaborate enough, she left y'all hanging.
If y'all think I'm crazy.
Yeah, let her know.
Let me know.
Yeah. But yeah, always with love, peace.
Peace and love. Love you guys.
Peace.